Welcome, everyone, to Season 8 of Manifesting with Meg, Conversations with Extraordinary People. And Season 8 is Stay in Joy. I love this theme. It's going to be a great year. And I get to begin it with special guest and founder of the Joy School and so much more, Lisa McCourt. I want to welcome everyone to episode 140, The Magic and Power of Dreaming. Always a conversation away from extraordinary. Time to wake up to the power of possibility and bliss. And without further ado, welcome, Lisa. I'm so excited to begin with you.
Meg, it's always so fun to play with you in this space. I'm delighted to reconnect. I love your energy. I love your authenticity. I'm happy to be here.
I think in life, and I think that actually it's quite beautiful that we plant the seeds by virtue of the information or the conversation or the interactions we have. And I had the pleasure of being on your podcast when I launched my memoir. Now it's been 3 years ago. And I was, I always follow you. You always uplift the energy of anything that you do. And I've really been in admiration of you because we all need people who inspire us for sure. Sometimes books come to us when we most need it. And sometimes conversations come to us when we most need it. She writes books about joy and love that have sold over 9 million copies. She teaches practical spirituality and its application to our day-to-day lives through her online Joy School. Can't wait to talk about that. At lisamccourt.com. For you in the podcast world, it's lisamccourt.com. And at live events. She loves collaborating with fellow spiritual entrepreneurs, having ghostwritten many books for spiritual thought leaders and hosting them on her Joy Zone podcast. I was so lucky to be on. A popular podcast guest as well. She won the honor of Best Expert Guest in 2024 Women in Podcasting Awards. Above all, Lisa strives to be an effective member of the team that's elevating consciousness in the world. Oh my goodness, I'm going to take that all in. We need to elevate the consciousness of the world. Welcome. I love the idea that you center around joy. So tell me a little bit about how that began.
Oh, how it started that I used that word?
Yeah.
So I think like most teachers of happiness, spreaders of joy, people in this space, it was born of contrast.
Mm-hmm.
I can't say that's true for everyone, but certainly the vast majority of my colleagues that, we've unpacked this together. I was not a happy child. I was very, very far from being a confident, powerful person. I was extremely contracted and closed down and fearful of the world. And by the grace that you mentioned in your little opening statement there, a book or two started coming my way that just blew my world open. I started understanding that there's this whole vast area of study and books called spirituality that when I would read them, I would just feel lit up from the inside. It was like my very first book was with Wayne Dyer. So I just felt like Wayne Dyer was the one person on the planet who knew my thoughts, knew my feelings, understood what was going on with me, right? And then from there, it grew. But as I became an author and teacher, joy just felt to me like the carrot. It's like that is what learning spiritual principles did for me. And that's what I became committed to wanting to help others to achieve, is a life of joy through these very simple, timeless principles.
I love that when you call it the carrot. Well, that's a good thing. Everybody, like, there's so many distractions in the world. This is something that is an attention grabber, the whole concept of joy. Let me ask you, what does that mean to you?
What does joy mean?
Yes.
Joy to me is a rightness with yourself. It's knowing that all of these messy human emotions that are going to flow through all of us, because that's what we're here for. That's what this human existence is all about. Every one of them is okay and valid and something that you can fully embrace and feel and not have to squish down and deny. And the clarity, joy is clarity about what we are. We are spirit, we are joy, we are love at our core, clarity around the truth about our being and what we're here to do. And when we have that rightness and we feel good in our own skin, that's what joy is.
Going back to the word clarity. Okay. So there's a lot of need for clarity right now, especially if you're feeling like the contrast is a little bit too overwhelming for all of us, and our theme today as episode 140 is magic and power of dreaming. And it's kind of interesting. I always get excited around the synchronicities of things. We have a bit of, it's only, been a week, but it's a bit of kind of chaos going on in the world. And back to the whole notion of the seeds being planted, certainly, what are we watering? What kind of seeds do we want to see grow into fruition? Your career certainly, was it always this, or did you start off as something else?
I believed that writing was my only superpower for a long time. I always was very good at writing. I think it's because journaling was my sanity and my savior
Yeah.
as a child. And anything that we put that much time and attention into, we're going to get better at. So I really thought that would be my whole career. And I was blessed to have some very early success that thrust me into speaking and teaching, which I hated at first.
Right.
But then I came to realize that that's how we build community. That's how we
Yeah.
find those like-minded people, the people who would want to hear what I'm talking about, or my tribe, or my people, my community. And I fell in love with that. So that's how I made the shift.
I like that you talk about community, and I think that, they say that the happiest people have the most incredible, solid, supportive, and loving communities. And ultimately, at the end of the day, when you are around people who support and love you, you become more of a supportive and loving person. Certainly, you have this joy school, and I imagine that's a great community of people who either they're seeking or they want to share some of their joy with the world. Tell me a little bit about that and how you founded it and how long you've had it.
Yeah, Joy School has been around in different iterations for about 20 years. We didn't even always have that name. It's just it's basically been my online teaching programs as Joy School. But you're right. It's amazing to me the people that it draws, because you would almost sort of assume that we're going to draw a lot of but miserable people, right? Because the promise is like, we're going to help you be joyful, but it really doesn't work that way. If you ask anybody in the world, would you like more joy? Would you like more happiness? Almost everybody is going to say yes. But the difference is that most people really do not understand that they have anything to do with that. They still think that it's determined on all these external circumstances that have to, check all the boxes so I can have joy. But the ones who have a little bit of just a glimpse of an opening of understanding, wait, maybe I could do something with me that would make me have more joy in my life. Those are the ones that come to Joy School. And it is so much fun once somebody has that little understanding to get the crowbar in there and blow their mind with how accurate that is, and how all happiness, all joy is truly an inside job. It's very, very little dependent on what's going on out there. And yet we're here to have a human life and to want things and create them and make them happen. So there's nothing wrong with manifesting, as you talk about. We manifest our booties off in Joy School, but with a lightness and with an understanding that that's really not so much what's going to make us happy. We're what makes us happy. What we have going on in here is where the joy is. This is just a game we're playing, and why not have fun playing the game?
I love it. That's really profound. It's really an inside job, what you said. They always say, like, you're looking for someone to change your life, look in the mirror, because it's you. You're the one who is really going to be that change maker for you. And certainly today's theme, is making me really, curious as to where, the dreams that we have in life. And I always say, keep dreaming, because that's what gets you to look forward to the next best thing. Today is a quote from Paulo Coelho, the Brazilian author, The Alchemist. For all of you who haven't read that book, I say go for it. The quote is, "It's precisely the possibility of realizing a dream that makes life interesting." And for me, Paulo is one of those, like you say, Wayne Dyer. I love Wayne Dyer, but Paulo for me, it was just kind of that light that kind of egged me on or pushed me forward. And to the point of the whole insight, life's possibilities are certainly endless. If there comes a time where you can't see hope on the horizon, then take a moment to dream. If you find yourself in a rut, then connect with others who perhaps can be that force or that light that could guide you on. And I really do believe that when we dream together, like you said at the outset, collaboration is the greatest gift to help each other see a different perspective, and certainly, be a part of something bigger than themselves. However, knowing full well that it is that internal guide that's going to egg you on. What's your magical power, and how have you applied it to your dreams so far?
Okay. Yeah, I feel like my magical powers are really more internal and not about the manifesting, but I'll try to unpack both. I'm an empath. I've always been an empath. I'm what psychic energy readers call a transmuter. I feel very much the happiness of the collective.
Yeah.
You're not wrong that it's a really hard week for a lot of people. And I have protocols, for protecting my energy. I'm a Reiki master. I've learned other energetic tools. So it's not like I couldn't protect myself. It's more of a conscious choice right now to be present with what's happening, because it's only by holding it all, being in initial acceptance of what's unfolding, which acceptance doesn't mean we're not going to try to change it, but we have to stop resisting and creating all that turmoil. We have to be in clarity and acceptance about what's unfolding unflinchingly. And it's only then that we can be an instrument of transmutation, right? So yeah, I teach these tools through Joy School. They make a tremendous difference when the world's on fire, such it is. So maybe that is, I guess, my superpower. It's not necessarily a manifesting superpower, but I have others for that if you want.
That is a huge superpower, to calm the storm, so that you could certainly see before you, because when things are crazy, you can't see the way out or the way through. Definitely share it with us.
Right. So we have a couple of different sort of premises that we have to lay out when we're doing manifesting in Joy School. I have, I feel like I am a really powerful manifester. I know my book sales are one of the most concrete, measurable things I can point to that demonstrates that ability. Personally, I think my husband is my most impressive feat of manifestation, but that's harder to quantify to the world. So. So I know one of the things that comes up in Joy School a lot is that manifestation can never outrun your deep down belief in your own deservingness of the thing you're trying to manifest. Right?
Boom, there. Yeah.
And that's usually subconscious. So if you want to see what you truly, deeply, subconsciously believe you deserve, look around at your life, right? All of us have manifested some pretty cool things. That's proof that we believe we deserve those things. Yay, good on us, right? And most of us have a few areas where we wish we were manifesting more or something better. And that's just really valuable information. It's just showing us where we have some work to do on our subconscious beliefs about ourselves, about the world, about what we deserve. Most of us got some pretty unbeneficial programs stored in there along the way. So that work is to bring them up into conscious awareness where we can do the job to rewire them. And the other thing that we talk about a lot in Joy School is differentiating our soul desires from our conditioned desires. We all know that, the world is going to tell us you want lots of money, you want fame, you want adoration, you want to look a certain way. None of that is really going to make us happy. Most people in our spiritual circles have figured that out by now. The most direct access to our manifesting power is always going to come from identifying our soul desires, the really true deep level desires that we don't even understand where they come from, but they just light us up, right?
Yeah.
So with things like book sales, once I had my deservingness rewired, which took a lot of work and a lot of years, the receptivity chute gets opened up, right?
A lot of people out there might not think that it's anything to do with them, but the whole idea is that deservingness or that worthiness. How did you shape it around to the iteration that you're experiencing now in your life? Especially like you said, after 9 million book sales, that certainly is a nod that you're going in the right direction. You hear a little bit more about that.
Yeah, I think when I did a lot of this work was, a little bit prior to the 9 million sales, but ongoing. We're always spiraling, right? There's always that next level that we can get to. Most of us, our core stuff is never really going to go away in this lifetime. We're going to continue to heal it in increments and in levels. So we do it by recognizing what we've stored. We've all, have energy pockets where we've stored away our traumas, the feelings that were too big for us to feel and express when we were very young. Usually it can happen at any point in life. You can store these energies away, but typically happens when we're very young and we just don't have the wherewithal, the emotional maturity to process really big feelings. And we do that, ironically, talking about this week, this is part of what we're working on in Joy School right now, is understanding that a lot of us are triggered by what's going on. If you've had an abusive parent, if you've had cruelty in the past, if you've had powerlessness, if you've had, authoritarian power people in your life who don't have regard for your emotions or anybody's emotions, then you have trauma around that gets triggered in a week like this. But it's the understanding that when we are triggered, it's always an opportunity for healing that trauma. It's always an opportunity to hold ourselves right there, to have compassion for what's happening, to call it what it is, to understand that, yeah, it's happening out here, but it's opening something within me. And when it's ready to open and it's ready to love and to release, that's when we lighten ourselves. And what we most often are lightening ourselves of is a undercurrent of shame that almost every human being I've ever encountered in this space is carrying around. And when we can lighten that shame, that's when we understand the deservingness. Most of us developed a lot of feelings about our own wrongness when we were very young. And when we understand that none of that was accurate, that we have these brain programs running that were just our perception of events that had nothing to do with us, we can divest ourselves of those limiting emotions and energies. And then the deservingness comes online, because we all are deserving of every joy and every beautiful thing here.
So beautiful. And I absolutely love that you're framing this as an opportunity. When we get triggered, it's an opportunity to heal. And I think that especially now, there's so many ways you can get triggered, because social media grabs our attention here, shock and awe here. It's like, and the whole idea is, okay, get curious around it, from what I've understand you to say. And then, the healing can start to begin. And I love that you're working on that. And Joy School, we also, we're setting our intentions at the outset of this interview. And certainly my intention was to level up joy, lead with joy, stay in joy, because I think that there you can make a lot of wonderful, wonderful difference. Back to you. What was your intention at the outset?
I said right now, in general, this week, what I'd like to bring to your audience is to find that sweet spot. I posted recently, fear is the energy of what if, faith is the energy of even if these atrocities are unfolding, because they are, even if we can hold that vision, like you referenced with your Paulo Coelho quote, and we can have faith that all the pieces are falling into place in a way that we just can't see. One of my good friends recently wrote a little post about the universe with a Rubik's cube, and the universe is just flipping the cube, and it all looks like a mess, and everyone's horrified, and that's the worst match of colors and patterns I've ever seen in my life. And then the final turn, right? The final flip, and it's all perfect and done. And it's like, oh, this is why. This is where we're headed.
That's really beautiful. I love it. And one of the things, my favorite thing is that you offer inspirational quotes when we come together, and you have some amazing quotes, and I'm going to share it with the audience right now. The first one, your subconsciousness isn't an idiot. That's why affirmations and vision boards can end up being so ineffective. Authentic, lasting change can only happen when you successfully shifted your long-held, deeply unconscious beliefs. Lisa, take it away. What does this mean for you?
Yeah, I feel like that's kind of exactly what we just talked about.
Yeah.
It's just, we have so much in this space of this like happiness space of like, just, put your fingers on yours and chant joy, 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 joy. Like your subconscious isn't falling for that, right? We all know that we are vibrational beings in a vibrational world. So we are always emitting frequencies, and that's what's determining what we experience as our reality here. And the vast majority of those vibes that we're sending out are unconscious. They're not what we're thinking in our mind. So we can make a pretty vision board. It's actually can be detrimental when we've made a vision board and we've filled it with things that we deep down don't believe we can achieve or that we deserve. Then it's actually more traumatizing every time you look at that vision board. Or same thing with an affirmation that's too high in the sky. It's like we have to meet our subconscious where it is. We have to get to the truth and clarity of what we're believing so that we can do the gradual work of divesting ourselves of the limitations that are causing us to believe that.
Wow, that's so powerful. It's like, yeah, it's like if you say to yourself, well, I don't know how, but I'm going to be, like they say, a kid like who is 50 years old and now I'm going to play the NFL, I'm going to play it's, that's the realistic nature of that is not, maybe you're going to, go to a game, but maybe you're not going to play. But the reality is if it's like some affirmation that you actually believe, that you can see and that you can feel, and it's possible, even if it's like remotely possible, still that's beautiful. It kind of leads the way to something more. And this is the next one. I wanted to share this next because I think that before we go to the next quote, this is our book, and I'm going to go back to this. So we're going to go back to the quote. So one second. Okay. Love is so much more than we think it is. It's the most powerful tool we have at our disposal. And learning to wield this tool effectively is what ultimately changes everything. That's from you. Lisa, go take it away.
Yeah, it's so true. It's people who have been in my Joy School for a while, we have such a different appreciation for this word, what this actually is. Everything in our life we're in a relationship with. We're used to thinking about being in relationship with the people in our lives, but we don't really think about how we're in a relationship with our body, with our car, with our refrigerator, right? With our, and with big concepts like honesty. I'm in a relationship with the concept of romance. I'm in a relationship with the mental construct of money.
Yeah.
And all of these, wherever we're having issues in our life, wherever we're not manifesting the way we want to, wherever we're feeling our energy dragged down around something, it's just about healing that relationship and bringing forgiveness, because something got wedged in there somewhere along the way that we're not forgiving. We're not forgiving money, or we're not forgiving romance, or we're not forgiving honesty or power, or we have to do the forgiveness work and pour love into that relationship. And when we do, it just changes the frequency. It changes everything that we're creating out there.
Well, that's so in and of itself powerful. Imagine that you not fight what was, but pour love and forgiveness into it. That is just game changing for me. Thank you for that. Because the reality is that even love yourself differently, like, okay, like you said, there's so much shame out there, and it's like you did your best with what you had. So now you know better, you do better, and you're surrounded by people that are mirroring you much better. I love this. And it's about love. And honestly, at the end of the day, where there is love, there is healing. Thank you for that. And then we have this beautiful quote. I was like, thank you for that. I was like,
oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And things like romance or money, we're the only one in the relationship. It's just us and this mental construct. Like, that's so doable. It's not like your relationship with your brother where it takes two people to come together at the table and with the same intention. No, we can do it ourselves just with our intentional commitment to it.
That is game changing. If you start to believe from that place, that understanding, then everything you see in your life is going to be, with those colored glasses, not the other. So here we have this beautiful quote. Whatever is triggering you right now is a gift. And it goes back to what we were saying before. Yes, even that. It's showing you where you've stored pain in the past and where you have healing work to do. Wow. Yeah. Okay, so we have this quote. Okay. For those of you out there who might not see it as a gift, how do you get there? How do you get to that place? Because it's like, okay, today, gift. No, I mean, you're going to be like, no, there's no way that what I went through for that long, for dealing with the injustice of it all, that was a gift to me. That just was pain to me. How do you shift to this understanding?
Yeah. A lot of it is the same forgiveness work. And I mean, if it's a person, that's sort of a different protocol, different application. A lot of times our suffering comes from self-blame, thinking that we could have done something different. We could have made different decisions. We should have seen it. We should have done something differently. But when we realize how it works, when we realize that we come here as just this beautiful, divine, energetic essence, that is our soul. Every person walking the planet has one. Nobody came in without one. That's the truth of who we are.
Yeah.
And that everything that defines our humanness, that's not soul, is something that's gotten installed in us along the way. It's a brain program. Our parents either taught it to us deliberately or by the wayside. We just observed, and then things were modeled for us. School, friends, everything is just sort of, our minds are just computers. We can only use and work with what's been installed in there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when we understand that about ourselves and others, it becomes easier to do the forgiveness work, to do the healing work, and to understand that if once I know that there's a faulty program in there and I don't want to run that program anymore, today's a new day. You can go to a clean slate and say, thank you, horrible thing that happened, for showing me the program that I was running, so that I can now do the work of rewiring it and create something different.
And maybe even do the work that you came here to do in this world. I think that that could be the impetus behind that trigger. It kind of moves you out of where you were until something even better. I think that what you just said was so profound in so many ways. And, I want to go back to the fact that you have a Joy Ozone podcast, right? You have your Joy class founding on all these wonderful people, the Joy School. And you also have this incredible book. And I gave everyone a sneak peek before, but I just want to go back to that, because I think that the whole word, the concept of even the title, Free Your Joy. How did you get there?
How did I get to Free Your Joy? The last book that I had written that was specifically based on my joy trainings was a Hay House book in 2012 called Juicy Joy. So I knew I wanted to do a nod that this is a continuation or follow-up to that. And they had changed and developed so much in the 10 years. I think it was 10 years when it came out, since the prior book. And Free Your Joy is just a statement of recognition that it's there. It's not like, let's go find joy or create joy or chase joy. It's not out there. It's just in there waiting for you to free it. All we have to do is clear away the stuff that's in the way of it. So I intended it as everything that I could gather for the DIY joy seeker, right? So ideally, in my world, you would come into Joy School and let me love you up and be in a beautiful group with people who are loving you up, and we can, teach joy that way. But if you're not going to do that, I wanted there to be as complete as I could pull together a manual for how to do it on your own. So it's meant to be read over the course of a year. Most people have told me they didn't do that. They read it right through, and then they go back and apply the weekly steps. But every week there's something to focus on and to go bring it into your life, because we all know that we can listen to the amazing Meg podcast and feel great for that day, or we can go to a workshop or a weekend retreat and feel great for a little while. All of that, all of the learning about joy is powerful entry point, but it's in the application to your day-to-day life. It's the application to your marriage, application to your job, application to your parenting, application to your alone time. It's taking what you learn and putting it into practice in your life that actually will shift your default setting on the vibration that you're sending out. So it's a 52 weeks of do this week, this week, and it builds on itself. And there are a lot of good examples and quotes and stories woven in. So.
And I love the idea that you call it sustainable happiness. Tell me why you chose those words as well.
Yeah, it's exactly like you were mentioning, the hedonic treadmill. We all have been conditioned. Again, it's just a program that we've been conditioned with to, my joy is out there. When I get that, then I can be happy. And as anybody who's ever gotten what they wanted can attest, that just doesn't last. We want the next thing. The bloom falls off the rose, whatever the expression is. So learning to source joy from your inner being, from the wellspring that is always available to you, and learning that everything we're doing out there, we're just pushing pieces around the game board, allows for not only all of your activities to be joyful, but all of your emotions to be joyful. Every emotion has an undercurrent of joy. When you're angry and you're not judging yourself for being angry or letting it consume you, and when you're just recognizing, oh wow, I'm angry about that, there can be a rightness and a strength and a defining of your your boundaries. There can be a lot of joy and anger. There can be joy and grief when you recognize that, wow, my heart has never felt this open and full. I must have so much love that I'm feeling right now. And there can be joy in every emotion when we learn those reframes and learn how to just be more accepting of ourselves, the totality of our humanness.
And I love that you have a book called Juicy Joy. I mean, yeah, that is literally what somebody would want to have right now. Okay. I have to say, you have, like you said, you are the author of many books. You've ghostwritten many books. You've interviewed so many people. My question, this is personally my interest. What was one of your favorite interviews that changed your world?
Oh my gosh.
Or one of many, but you can say the first one that comes to mind because I didn't want to put you on the spot.
There's something about, and I've interviewed him many times. We've played together in many, many capacities, but there's something about Scott Stabile's magic. I don't know if you know him. He's, I consider him a heart brother of mine. He wrote Big Love and Enough as You Are. He's just very, the energy that comes with his words. I've always just found there's a certain magic that's created in those interviews. So that's the first one that comes to mind. I'm sure there are a lot more.
Oh, I love that. No, the fact that you use that magic, and it's kind of wonderful because we're talking about the magic and power of dreaming. So, I think that is really aligning with the sentiment today, big love, those words. And also like the way you think about someone who's impacted your life and you take that energy with you throughout. I think we could do that on a daily with all the people we come into contact with. One of the things I get excited about, things that I come upon because I feel like, okay, I'm paying attention to universe. Universe, what do you want me to do? Or God, or whatever you want to call it. How do I serve today? And we're all blessed with so many wonderful strengths. And I think always as I write inspiration. So one of the strengths that I have that I keep wanting to build on is how other people can help me inspire whatever I'm doing in my life. So back to you. What is an inspiration that you would want to share with everyone who's listening today to help them move through?
I think it's going to come back to find that kindness for yourself when you're finding things rough, when you're finding anything out there, going on that you're just feeling a little anxious about or can't handle. Put your hand on your heart, take some deep breaths, recognize your divinity, recognize your source. We have a whole bunch of things we do in Joy School to align with our soul self, and have compassion for the human going through this. You're going through this because of something you experienced at some point in this human journey. And maybe you feel it in your belly or your side or your head, or, put your hand there and send love to your sweet self. Just, this is not a time to mess around and forget about compassion and self-compassion. This is when we absolutely all need to have that love and compassion for ourselves. And the more we can cultivate it for ourselves, the more it's naturally going to spill out onto others.
I love that. Well, I think a wonderful opportunity for everyone to share compassion for self would be going to your Joy School, for one. If they have that opportunity, certainly you can tell us, how do we find your Joy School, Lisa?
Oh, thank you. It's at my name, Lisa McCourt, LISAMCCOURT, like a tennis court, .com. There's a Thrive in 25 program that we're running, 3 months of small group, bringing the principles into life. It's really magical. I'm looking at putting together right now. I don't have all the details yet, but it'll be at that website soon, a program very specifically about the times that we're in and learning how to work with the triggers that are so prevalent in the collective. These are challenging times, and we can thrive and we can stay aligned with our inner light and our inner joy. And it's incumbent upon all of us to do that. The more of us that are collapsing into fear, the worse for the outcome that we all want to see happen.
Okay. That's absolutely profound. The more of us who collapse into fear rather than embracing joy, or even staying in joy, or even freeing your joy, all of the above. I think that is really wonderful advice for anyone who may be feeling very overwhelmed.
If you've jumped down into the hole with the problem, if that's all you're focusing on is, oh my God, this is terrible, there's no one up top to lower the rope. You got to stay up top.
I think, what was one of the most profound lessons that you've experienced in your life that makes you this extraordinary person today?
I think the learning to love myself, learning unlearning my many programs of unlovability that I had accumulated was the most powerful game changer. Yeah, I think that's really the most powerful. We we think that we're, separate from others and life and the universe, and really when we get clear that we're all one thing, then loving ourselves lets us live in a world full of love, a love-based reality, which sounds kind of fantasy and made up, but it's the truth in spite of all the horror that's taking place right now, and our hearts breaking for people who are in the hole. We have to stay connected to source, to that love-based reality, to lower the rope.
So was there one aha moment that basically instructed this path for you?
A lot of people, that aha moment dictates how they're going to serve. I think
Yeah,
that's just part of the spiritual path. As you practice the tools and learn the tools, you come to the point where you desperately want to serve this mission,
right.
serve this collective. And I think for me, because it was so incremental through books and teachers, that's what's made me just want to channel my efforts into books and teaching, because I experienced it as an incremental journey. So I want to provide that space for people who are, understanding that this is going to require some layers and some time.
Yeah. You mentioned Wayne Dyer at the outset, that it was one of the books that you were, or teachers that you followed, that his books that you read. He speaks about that Dharma, that life purpose, why we're here. And everyone wants to know, why am I here? Why at this time, in this moment, for what this reason? What is your Dharma? Have you discovered it? Are you in the process of discovering it?
I always go back to Eckhart Tolle, who has this wonderful quote of, like, people are so curious. What is my Dharma? What is my Dharma? We all have the same Dharma. Like, the Dharma is to recognize your soul, recognize your soul self, and live more into it. And I feel like for me, that's definitely the case. It's just been a never ending journey of being able to go there more easily and accessibly, and bringing others along with me. So I think that for all of us, it's about awakening our soul. And then once the soul is awakened, once we're in touch with our inner
Yeah.
voice and our intuition and our guidance, then the Dharma becomes clear. Then it's like, oh, I'm meant to make people laugh. I'm a comedian. I'm meant to rescue animals. I'm meant to be an advocate for the planet. Like,
Yeah.
it's going to look different for each of us. But the first step is just clear away what's impeding you speaking with your own soul and getting that wisdom.
Wow. Wow, that was a lot. I was like, yes. Rumi says, once you're awake, don't go back to sleep. Just don't go back
Yeah.
to sleep. We need you awake. We need you conscious. We need you a part of this whole beautiful, wonderful, joyful world. And, I do love, Pam Grout always says, there's always something wonderful about to happen. And I think that this whole interview has been wonderful with you. I definitely like to be around extraordinary people, because it definitely makes me a better person. And I want to say thank you to you for sharing this time with me. What is the message that you would want people to take away after getting to be in your presence or meeting you?
I think that what I always want people to feel is seen and loved after spending time with me. I long ago set namaste as my guiding principle. Some people pick a new word to focus on every year. That's been like a trendy thing for a while. For decades, my word has been namaste. I have a little
Wow.
tattoo with it. It's just, I think that I have a natural gift for seeing the light in others, which probably came from a lot of contrast early in my life, for letting them feel me feeling them. But it's something I continue to hone and grow, because I know that love is the healing tool.
But also pick a number in the magical guide that would match your intention, and we'll go ahead and read what that is. So our insight would be kind of shared with the audience today. So what number would you pick?
335.
Oh, be grateful for the challenges. I got goosebumps. It says, it's from JCPenney. It's, I am grateful for all my problems. After each one was overcome, I became stronger and more able to meet those that were still to come. I grew in all my difficulties. And the key to bliss today is be grateful for the difficulties. So I think this kind of makes sense. It completely makes sense with everything that you've said and everything we've learned from you. And like I said before, everyone go out to see her webpage, lisamccourt.com, lisamccourt.com. I have so much to revisit in this whole interview, and certainly going back to the whole idea of who you are really and the light you are, reminding all of us to grab on to that juicy joy, free that juicy joy, and then stay in that joy. I'm going to give you the final word. Go for it.
Meg, I love you. I love what you are doing. I love this opportunity, and we need one another more than ever before. Everybody out there, just know how much you're needed to hold the light.
Oh, I love that. So everyone, know how much you're needed, each one of you out there, to hold the light. Time to manifest joyfully this year, with our strengths, touching our soul purpose, so that we all can come to a place of love and learn and wisdom. And like I always say, get ready to dazzle. I believe in all of you. Thank you so much, Lisa, for this wonderful beginning of my season 8. And you're just amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Meg. Hugs.
All right, hugs to you too. Have a great day, everyone. Bye-bye.